Were you hearing like when you're out there delivering stuff and everything, are people kind of like laying their stories on you? Like are
Yeah,
they
yeah.
yeah,
Out of all the things that we were able to accomplish, man, like I feel like that's the biggest way we were able to help these folks was sitting and letting them get it out. Like it's, I mean, 78-year-old women talk to little kids about it. Like it's, you can just see it in their eyes, man. You can see, you get there and you give them what they ask for, and you can tell that there's just still something missing. They don't care about it. They care about the stuff. They need it. They're going to use it. They don't care. And so we just sit there and talk, and you can tell 5 minutes in, tension gets built up, and just see it in their eyes, just start to get a little more blank. And just like,
they need to let it out,
yes,
really.
you
Yeah.
can trust us. I mean, every single conversation, I'd say 9 out of 10 ended with me or Eric's being like, you can trust us. You can tell us. You can let it out. And then just us crying and hugging. I mean, it's all the materials,
Sure,
cool.
you had to hear some stuff that you weren't really prepared for.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Plenty of them, yeah. It's yeah, plenty of it. But that's nothing on my back compared to them having to hold it. I mean,
Right.
couple of those people, I do think that weight would have broke their back if they didn't get it out. I really do. I mean, we had two volunteers, Nate and Steve. Shout out to them. Some of the best men you'll ever meet in your life. But anyway, long story short, they ran across this guy. He lost his wife and two kids. Watched him get swept away, and they were talking to him. And then 20 minutes in, he just pointed up at the mountain. He said, "You see that spot, that little clearing up there?" Yeah, man, it looks beautiful. Is that where your house is? And he said, "No, it's where I'm gonna kill myself next week."
Oh my God. Oh,
Oh God.
now tell me you've talked to this dude after that, or oh, you have.
Yeah,
So
well, not me personally. So I actually found out about that 2.5 weeks after it happened. Um, we all left, came back, and that one of the guys, Steve, he came back and served with me that time. And just one late night, he told me about it. Like, he said, "Man, can I tell you something? Something's been really eating at me, like really eating at me." And he told me that, and it ate at me 24/7 since then. And say probably I left 4 days after that. Say the sixth day after that, I called him. I said, "Steve, I was like, what are we gonna do about this guy, man? Like it's all I can think about." And he said, "Funny you should ask. I'm actually at this point we were in Burnsville. He drove to Black Mountain that day where the guy was. He said, I'm actually in Black Mountain right now. He's like, I've been thinking about that guy all day, and I'm trying to find him right now." I was like, "You're just trying to find him? Like, he never knew his name either."
Oh man.
Like, "How are you trying to find this guy, man?" He goes, "Just in the area where I met him, and I'm just gonna ask everyone, ask everyone, ask everyone." About an hour goes by. He goes, "Man," he's like, "I didn't find him. I found his cousin."
hmm,
Wow.
"You found this man's cousin?" He goes, "Yeah, they got him. They realized the threat he was to himself with his mind state, and they've got him at a family house." So,
oh,
Oh
that's
wow.
great.
far as I
It,
know, he's still alive and doing well. But I mean,
that,
just endless stories like that, man, where it's like they lost somebody, like,
Well, yeah.
and
I
they
know it.
don't know how to cope. And I'm that same way. I physically couldn't imagine that with my kids.
No, I mean
no,
either.
God, no,
Me either.
no. That's I can't say that I would have thoughts any different than that guy.
No, yeah.
Not at all.
I
You
mean,
know.
there's the one story of the lady who watched her parents and her son get swept away, and that was like the first one that kind of came out that was like a public one that they actually let people hear in Asheville, and the son's name was the same name as our son,
Yeah.
and I mean, oh my God, well, like you just can't even fathom that, and that's something that people need to to realize that's why we want to do, these podcasts and stuff too on this topic, because it's like, okay, people out there don't they don't know. They just don't. I mean,
No,
there's
it's
a lot of
hard to
them,
even understand it unless you're
you
in the
can't really
area.
grasp it, yeah,
But
but
they also haven't been shown the reality of it, like on the news or anything.
no,
Like it's
yeah.
just,
I mean, we're old news now. We were old news when it happened. They basically just kind of wrote
yeah,
it off like it was not even anywhere close to what it is, and oh, we've got enough help, and we this, that, and the other. It's like, and I always have to remind myself, like, okay, well, there are a lot of people out there who know and believe us, because if there weren't, then they wouldn't be coming here and
No,
taking time out of their lives and their
yeah.
money and their, to come here and help us. So that is about the only thing that keeps me from like shaking people.
Yeah, we're like it's always hanging in the air. We're bothered by the fact that for whatever reason, the it seems the death toll is like really, really underestimated.
Yeah.
And that just bothers me because those people
It's
existed.
disrespectful
It
to
is
someone's life.
disrespectful. It feels like, okay, this handful of people were mentioned and that's about it, and it's like
yeah.
that really bothers
And
me.
they'd be like, oh, 11 people passed away. And I'm like, 11 people? Where, on that street?
I heard at least a dozen, 12 to 20 of those stories, like that lady watching her parents and kid. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
that's just firsthand account. I mean, that's
Right.
like you said, basically one street. I'm one man. I can't work the whole area. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm
Dude,
working somewhere. I'm working one small little spot, talking to the same 30, 50, maybe 100 people.
Mm-hmm.
I hear that many stories. It's like I know that's wrong. I know it's wrong. There's no way it's not. There's no way that I mean, there's still got to be so many missing people out there. The amount of
Oh,
debris that exists in Pensacola alone, you want
yeah.
to I mean, there's washing machines 40 feet in the air in the trees,
my
Yeah.
God.
and then there's
There's,
piles of trees,
oh,
just piles on piles on piles of trees, where in reality, one of those piles could be harboring 20 people plus. I mean, not saying
yeah.
I'm sure it's not on that scale, but I'm saying that's how big these piles, hundreds of them. And it's like,
Oh, yeah.
I just don't know if cadaver dogs could have had the opportunity to get all in there. It's
Yeah, I don't think that there's a lot of people, I think a huge chunk of people that will not be found ever. I mean, because there's
they're
nothing to
buried in the
find.
mud. I mean, the mud alone
Yeah,
is
The
just,
the
mud is,
part. And
yeah.
we've seen what it does to metal, like metal beams twisted up like a
yeah,
pretzel. It's like, what does it do to a human body?
Yeah.
yeah.
Did you find out like what, like when you were first there? I mean, I guess through the whole thing, were people telling you that they had a heads up? Because I know this varies from place to place.
No, I've not one person told me they expected it.
No?
Not
Yeah,
one.
see, I mean, we knew a lot of rain was coming and
That
flooding in the sense of, I don't know, man, some might get in your house.
it might be hard to drive. That was like,
Right,
you know,
exactly.
that was all we expected.
Yeah,
No,
my kid.
honestly, I've never even heard that. I haven't even heard people expecting baby water. They said we knew it was raining. We knew it was going to rain. That's the
Oh.
story I heard consistently, 100%. No matter if that was Black Mountain, Cherokee, Asheville, or Pensacola, no one,
Mm,
not one person.
Wow. So it's kind of just sweeping them. Like they're just going about their daily business and then
yeah.
the power of that's hit them. That's unbelievable.
I can't.
You're in Swananoa. Like I know that's one of the places that's wiped out the worst. People are intense. Everybody has their stories like, oh, the smell of death and this, that, and the other. Now the thing I'm learning is chemicals in the water. That's a bad spot, I guess, because of where the river comes down from Lake Douglas, I guess it is. And I guess it wiped out an old a place that had munitions and nuclear stuff, and then there's plastic plants along the way. Did you encounter or notice that the water was just not good to play around in at that point in Swananoa?
Yeah, so I think it was in Asheville. It was either Asheville or Swananoa. A medical plant got wiped out, and a bunch of that got in the water. like they don't have IV bags right now, like across
Right.
the nation. Like that's where that was. I got it firsthand, like I said, in Black Mountain. That first night we were in that hotel, it was just trickling water. I mean, it took me 45 minutes just to get the extremities. You know what I mean? Like just the base was bare minimum, and I still got a rash on my thigh.
Oh,
Wow, and you're 2 months in. Jesus Christ, the stuff that's in there. Well, I'll link you to them later, and we'll get back to what we're talking about. But there is a group of people that put the money in and actually tested the soil and water all throughout that area, and their results are on YouTube tonight.
Oh,
And they didn't give details, obviously, because they're all coming together with the results. But they said it's a complete 180 from what the media and your local officials are telling you.
yeah.
That it's the most toxic situation you could have.
Yeah.
I
And
mean, they said that you don't have to do the boiling ban when that was lifted. And they said the water's fine. That's when, oh, now all
Yeah.
of a sudden it's fine, and now that's when sediment's coming out of the faucet. That's when
Yeah.
discoloration's happening. So I
Mhm.
mean,
I know.
at this point, I think that our government has done nothing but prove to us that we have zero reasons to believe, trust, or have faith in them. I mean,
Yeah.
I didn't,
Yeah.
like you said,
I didn't ask
you're 10 days in at the beginning of this, and there's essentially nobody from the government they're helping.
Yeah.
You had the one organization come in and basically boot everybody from a hotel. But here's a good question, I guess. After they booted you guys who were doing work for everyone out at a hotel, did you see them out helping people like you were doing? Or did they?
No, but we were told that they were also told that they had to not be branded. They'd had a few threats on them.
Oh.
So
See,
they,
we heard that.
I don't. I heard that there was, all people, were
A
threatening these
militia.
guys, and I'm like, I'm
I
sorry,
heard
I didn't.
that
I didn't
too.
see helping militias
No.
around. Like.
I have no testament to if that's fact or fiction. I have no I heard that, but I I don't even know if they weren't allowed to wear their badges or shirts. I don't even know if that's just what I heard. And I hope that's true because I surely didn't see anyone out
Right.
doing work. But I mean we did when we were there, we did have three of their volunteers in housed with us.
Okay.
Okay.
They left every day. I don't
I don't know what they did, but
You're like, they were hanging out. I mean, they were
They were
there.
they were outside of the building. I don't know what they were doing outside the building, but I don't know how to. That's all as far as I'm concerned. I don't know anyone who has facts according to them.
Yeah.
I mean, so it's
yeah,
like
I really
I
don't
just
either.
don't know what to believe about anything. I just again
That's it.
if they weren't told to hide badges and hide branding, then they're not out helping. We'll say that.
Yeah,
Right.
it
Told
is one of
they
the
could be
things.
doing their job and some for all I know. I hadn't seen it. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. And everybody I've talked to that was doing any work for anybody, they were able to tell me, like, I live over there.
Mhm.
Or like, I
I
live
live
in
on this
Georgia, but
street, or
my
yeah,
aunt lives here. And then it's like they were just regular people, like you were saying.
yeah.
So how long were you in like Swananoa and Bat Cave, that area over there?
That was about 7, 8 days.
Okay.
And you were just nonstop running stuff from place to place. And
That one was that one we were workhorses. Absolutely, yeah. That was 7 to 8 every day. Yeah, at bare minimum. And then
Pensacola, were you guys rebuilding stuff?
so Pensacola. So we came back after the first trip, and we were here in Virginia. And that guy Nate that I was telling you about, he called me. He was crying, and he's a East Tennessee boy, big man, overalls.
Mhm.
hmm,
And he's like, man, we just went to Pensacola. Do you guys remember that cold front that came about a month ago, maybe a month and a half, or it was like 4 days of just cold?
Yeah,
yeah, the first one.
yeah.
Yeah.
And they came across he was either 12 or 14 dead.
Oh,
Not,
Oh,
not,
God.
not bodies, but they came across the families.
oh my God.
And a couple of them were infants. So
Oh,
Oh,
I
God.
immediately was like, okay. Because I checked the weather and I was like, this is a cold front just to show this is a preview of what's about to come.
yeah.
So we
Yeah.
have a unique situation where we know what's about to come. before it's here and here to stay. Now we got 3 weeks, so we're going down with heaters. So we came down. We were able to partner with Home Depot. They're a wholesale distributor. They gave us
Oh,
heaters at cost. So we came down with a bunch of top heaters and buddy heaters and propane, and that's what we did. And we came across like a bunch of these wiped out trailer parks that were all living in tents, and they were like, "We need the heaters," and then we go deliver them, and be like, "Oh, someone just delivered an hour ago." We're like, "Okay." It's a good
huh.
problem to have, but it come into the week, we still have 40 heaters, and we're like, "Oh no!" Like
Mhm.
we had
Wow.
these left, so we caught wind about Pensacola, went up there, and just tent city. It was that place. If you haven't been to Pensacola, that place is it. You can see some places where it is what it was, and you can see the green pastures, you can see all the cattle, you can see the house on the hill. Then their neighbor is just nothing. I'd say 90% of it is it looks like a desert. It's just mud, and it's got like the cracks, like the desert cracks all in it.
Yeah, we saw that in Buck Creek. Yeah.
Lots of dust in the air.
Oh, the dust in the air. Geez.
You guys seem to normally, what do you like do as far as disaster relief? Are you usually doing rebuilding, or are you just doing the relief part where you're helping people get supplies? Like what is it? What's the norm like prior to this situation?
Prior to this was nothing.
Okay, so you
Really?
guys just started with this thing then. Okay.
So
Wow.
I had sales for nonprofit Tech for Troops. That's a veteran based company. We help veterans. Um, and I basically just took that model, and my partner and I built one for basketball for youth. So we have a classroom and tutors and provide classroom materials for them. Um,
Right.
but as far as Break Fire, no, that was we made a DBA underneath our existing nonprofit to make this a whole.
Oh
Oh,
wow.
So moving forward, Breakfire is going to be focused on getting in there as quickly as possible after disasters and delivering goods like we did the first time. We
yeah.
just saw there was 30 people doing it, and we basically in one load we could take as many as 20 of them were. So
Yeah.
we saw how important that was in that time. Um, because I mean we were delivering 20 chainsaws to a small area. They could
Hmm.
then disperse them and then get all their trees. So I really wanted to focus on that, as far as delivering the materials, sourcing the materials as well.
Yeah.
But no, I mean we've done everything as far as West North Carolina goes. We're in it for the long haul. We're not limiting ourselves to anything. My partner, he's a general contractor, so we installed 5 mailboxes in Pensacola. That was like their biggest request. They said they wanted to feel normal. None of them had
Oh,
mailboxes. They couldn't get mail. No, they were
wow.
worried about voting at the time.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
so we did mailboxes. We did the spring well the last trip. Built a roof and a door. Um, we just did a bunch of muck outs. Split a bunch of firewood for people. So I mean, just whatever needed to be done. I mean, I had half a mind to go down there because I know a lot of people are pulling out making meals, and I saw that those people doing that. I heard some of them be like, "I know I'm not doing much. I know I'm not doing much. Not doing the work you're doing or other people are doing." I'm like, "You're fueling everyone."
Right.
Yeah.
Like
Right.
we have to stop spend more money. Like we're all not making money, we're spending money. So if we have to spend more money and
Yeah.
take the time to make, because we're camping. So I mean,
You
cooking
gotta cook
cooking in
food.
the kitchen, it's all right, cool, 20, 30 minutes, but cooking outside
Mhm.
and you can't use the creek water to wash dishes. So I mean now you're looking at an hour for any small meal. So I was like,
Right.
that's a big deal. Like, I mean, I've even thought about going down there doing a tour of just cooking for people if it's a need. So
Mhm.
and North Carolina is different. We're doing whatever needs to be done there. We're not going to be deploying any other disasters until that's done. 100%. Like
Yeah.
that's
So when the guy told you about the situation, the people they had found at the cold front in Pensacola and stuff like that, did he have like a list of, well, this person needs this or this person needs that, or was it just go there, find what people need, and just get to work?
that particular time. Normally he would have gotten a list, but he was just calling to vent basically
Yeah.
to me. But normally he would have gotten a list. but he knew I was here and he was actually leaving the next day. But no, I mean, we just drive around, man. I mean, anywhere we went, we were making sure someone was being helped. So if we were in the grocery store getting a dinner or something, like one lady, we're at Save More in Burnsville, Miss Marianne, she stopped us and she said, "Hey guys, there's stuff out in the parking lot for free. You don't have to spend money." We're like, "No, man, we're here to help you guys. Like, you guys take that, we'll buy this." She said, "Oh, you guys are from out of town?" We're like, "Yeah, I mean, is there anything that you need?" And she just started crying, just breaking down and crying.
Oh,
I told her she was 70, I think she was 74, and we bought her groceries. We got a big old list from her, got her a Starlink. Um,
Oh yeah.
just got her a bunch of, she was up at B-Log Mountain. That I've never even been there, but she
To
was
be
up.
honest, I have no idea where that is
They,
either.
they, they were
oh,
apparently really bad off, so she kind of acted like the hub lady for her
mhm.
small little area. So
Oh,
we just stayed in contact with her, and then when we left, passed her contact on to someone else, and just continued to take care of her. So I mean, we wherever we go, I mean, I mean, sure we had this list to do, but I mean, a step further with the list, we'd get there and we say, "Hey, this is all the stuff that's on your list." We realized very quickly donations were becoming a problem in a
Mhm.
good way, but people were overwhelmed. So day two, we were like, don't feel obligated to take everything. And what you don't need here, put back on our truck. We'll find a place. So we were
Yeah.
in one mission into 4 or 5.
Mhm.
If we talked to you, I mean, we were checking out at Walmart. Ended up getting the self checkout lady a generator. Yeah. I mean,
Wow.
it's and we were very fortunate because I'm a talker, so it's not difficult for me to just approach you. What do you need?
Mhm.
right.
We were able to take that again. At this time we're at a 60-80 person camp, so we were able to go back at our debrief with everyone there and just put that out there. And I mean, our group, that first group, I can't even tell you how many people were helped. I mean, we had tree guys. Shout out Keyshawn, he actually lives in Marion now. um,
Oh,
if you ever come across a big burly man, he's a short guy but he's big and burly. His name's Keyshawn. He's one
okay.
of the best guys you ever meet in your life, I promise you. He's one of the best dudes in the world. And if you need a tree cut, this guy was up 80 feet on I think it was a live oak. It was slanted, it was uprooted, leaning on this lady's house. My man just climbs at 80 feet and sitting up there for 45 minutes thinking about how he was going to take it down the next day.
Oh my God. Wow.
Certain
he,
kind of guts to do that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I got
Keyshawn's a
a friend
different
who
type
does
of
that.
man.
You're there, well, I mean, even to this day with some people, there was no communication, like especially on your Bat Cave, Swananoa trip. So everything's just basically word of mouth, right? Like people are, well, I know the Starlink thing came in, but that took some time, didn't it? Like
That took
I
Yeah.
about
remember,
That's
uh,
I'd say a lot of the hubs had it about a weekend. I'd say it started hitting like everyone about 2 weeks in.
oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay.
That ain't too bad. Yeah, I mean, that's why I told people, they kept seeing the same 4 or 5 devastating videos and stories from the area. And, after like 2 weeks, the story's kind of dead. So people's minds just automatically think that's what it was.
Yeah, that's all it
But
was.
then videos start coming out and stuff because people
People got
now have
phone
a
service.
connection.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like, you guys had a network at least where you're out on the ground and you're able to communicate with each other. But even in Marion, for 17 days, I had no phone service and no data connection.
Yeah.
So I don't even know how people were
I'd
communicating.
say honestly, that's probably some of the biggest trauma that I've noticed in people and the victims was not having that cell service in the beginning and not being able to contact their family. Like
Yeah.
there's so many
Yeah.
people that live in Burnsville as family in Asheville type deal where
Mhm.
Yeah.
no one was able to contact. I mean, this one lady, it was actually at that Earth Haven commune I was telling you about earlier. We were on the way out. We just hear someone screaming, and we're like, "What the heck? Stop!" She thought we were FedEx. We weren't. But we got to talking to her, and she's like, "Do you guys have service up? Blah blah blah." And we're like, "No, man, we don't." Why? And she just looks down. She goes, "I haven't talked to my son in a week and a half."
Oh.
Oh God.
We're like, "What? does he know you're okay? And she's like, I don't know if he's okay. And I was like, what do you mean? She goes, he lives in Asheville, and I have no
Mhm.
idea if he's okay. That was almost 2 weeks later, so I have no idea I don't know if the kid's alive. I mean, it's just
Yeah,
devastating. I mean,
That's torture. That's absolute
there
torture.
was a
first
lot
guy
of
I
that.
talked to, his name was Noah. He was at Hearts with Hands, and he was helping us unload our box truck, and I could see it in his eyes, just something in his eyes, and I was like, "Hey, brother, like, talk to me, talk to me." He couldn't talk to he had first and foremost he had survivor's guilt, I guess, because he had moved away from Swannanoa less than a week before.
Oh,
Oh wow.
I think he either moved up to DC or Charlotte and for a job. And so it happened. He couldn't contact his parents for 3 days. And he only said the only thing I knew is how bad this place got hit. He couldn't. He's like, so he just loaded up his stuff, came down here. Luckily, his parents and his pets were okay, but his his best friend's parents got swept away.
oh God.
Oh man.
But and I could tell that he was close with his best friend's parents, but even through that, like I could tell that those 2 3 days not being able to talk to his parents, man, like
Well,
I was
yeah.
that
Oh,
was
yeah.
the biggest
Yeah.
trauma and eyeballs that I saw was I couldn't talk to my mom for 2 days. And 95% of them, whoever they were looking for was alive. But it was
Mm,
still just that little waiting period of time where they didn't know. It, it's going to stick
yeah,
with a lot of these people forever. And it's
And they're just hearing things too. They're not able to even see. I
exactly,
wonder if a lot of people you encountered thought that they were pretty much the only people this happened to.
yeah. I think that
Meaning,
was a
like,
lot of
a
areas
community
like
gets wiped out, the survivors are there kind of wandering around. Did uh, I'm sure that you encountered it to where they didn't even know what was happening in a town over. Because
that.
I know the cars were a lot of cars were swept away, obviously,
Yeah.
and then the roads couldn't really be traveled
yeah.
safely. Anyway.
In Swannanoa, I had some of that. Because like you mentioned earlier, the smell of death in Swannanoa was very powerful at first, like very powerful. There was a couple of specific spots where you knew eventually, like, oh, I need to hold my breath, roll the windows up. Like it was
Oh my God.
there. I had a couple people ask, like, what about, do you know how blah 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 looks or something? But everywhere else, everyone just kind of knew, and they would allude to that. They would say, no, don't take care of me. I know I heard Spruce Pine got hit real bad. Go take care of Spruce Pine.
Yeah.
It's down to
Yeah, to be the way people are still, like there's this 86-year-old man who lives like way up by this the geyser in Old Fort, and there's like train tracks there that are just they're like gone.
yeah,
And he's way up on the mountain and he's by himself raising teenagers, and every time like our neighbors go up there to take care of him and they offer him stuff, he's always like, "Oh, well, yeah, I mean, I could use that and thank you, but you know what? This person down the street really, really needs that, or like this lady that lives around here, she really needs that. Go take that to her."
yeah. I mean, there.
Man,
Mountain people, it's like mountain people are different like that, man. Like
yeah.
I believe that saying now. Like you heard that.